Good morning. It is Sunday morning, the 4th day of NaNoWriMo, and I wanted to do a little recording in the morning before I even start thinking about writing. As you can see, it's a little chilly this morning, so I have some more notes that I want to talk about here. Today is the first day of daylight savings. Well, I never know whether daylight savings is starting or ending, but I do know that the time changed today, so it is, it feels later than it actually is. So a couple of things I wanted to say here. I was sort of laughing about that Irish voice on the iPad yesterday. I just wanted to say that I have nothing against Irish accents. I actually think Irish accents are one of the coolest accents, which is why I picked the Irish accent on the iPad. I just thought it was very funny that it was a computerized voice, and it was a computerized voice trying to do an accent, which I just thought was hilarious. I love Irish accents. That's why I picked that one. I have nothing against the Irish accent or people or country or anything like that. It just suddenly occurred to me that maybe it sounded like I was making fun of Irish people, but no, I was not doing that. So last night, I actually did write a few more 100 words of on my draft last night, so I got a little bit ahead, which is pretty cool. Yesterday was a really good writing day for me. I think I said initially that I wouldn't write much on the weekends, but it turned out my first good writing day was Saturday. Who knew? That's how it goes sometimes with writing. Some days are good, some days are not good. I'm hoping that I can carry that momentum into Sunday, but as yet I have not started writing, so I don't know how that will go. After I did my writing last night, I actually watched the second Mythica movie. I think I mentioned the first Mythica movie in a previous video. It was okay. It's a low budget movie. But I like that, what I like about it is it's obvious that whoever is behind making these movies really is trying to make a good movie. It's not like they're just trying to shovel anything out there for the money, but it's obvious they're trying to make a good movie. It's just that they have all these limitations of not having any money and not having the, no special effects budget and things like that. But it was okay. It was charming, I guess I would call it. I did want to say, I think I mentioned that I thought they were more like epic fantasy, but I think I was wrong about that. It's not sword and sorcery. It's not really epic fantasy. It's just sort of in this limbo world of, it's basically like a film about a D&D session, basically. It's like a D&D campaign. So it has that quality to it. So I don't know if there's a name for that genre, the D&D genre. Basically the characters, they're doing a job for money, basically, is what they're doing. It's like a game almost. It has a very game-like plot to it. Anyway, let's see. Some more notes of things I wanted to mention before I get into writing. I mentioned the iOS version of Scrivener. I'm really nervous about getting that because I did do a little bit of research, and it seems like there's a lot of people having problems syncing their projects with Dropbox. So, that would be like the entire purpose of me getting it, would be to work on my Dropbox projects. So I'm a little nervous about pulling the trigger on getting that. I think it's $20 on the iOS store, which is, I mean, it's not that much. But I mean, if the entire purpose of it is the syncing, and that's like the one thing that everybody's complaining about, that seems like kind of a problem. So I'm holding off on that. I'm doing okay with the Evernote on the iPad, so. And plus, when I use Evernote, I can use the text-to-speech feature on the iPad and get a really entertaining, an entertaining little show out of it. So one interesting observation I made while my back was really irritating me on day one, I kind of threw my back out about noon, and I recorded my video about, I don't know, what was it, like 8 o'clock or something like that? So between noon and 8, I was just in a great deal of pain. And it just went on and on and on. And I couldn't really do anything during that time. I wanted to keep writing. I wanted to do something productive, but I couldn't. There was no way that I could sit in a way that I could type on a keyboard. I mean, until I found the little system that I came up with lying in bed with the iPad screen up here and my wireless keyboard down on my lap, I basically could not use a keyboard all that day. And what I found, which I thought was interesting, also terrifying, I couldn't type at all for that day. And I really felt like I just did not have a voice during that whole time that I was not able to type on a keyboard. I felt completely, I felt mute. Like I was not able to communicate anything to anyone in any way, shape, or form. It was a really weird feeling. So I just wanted to mention that because I don't know if anybody else has experienced that. I feel like maybe that's a common thing for a writer to experience. If you're not able to write, like to type on a keyboard, or I couldn't have even written with a pencil even if I'd wanted to. Not that I like to write with a pencil. But even if I had wanted to, I don't think I could have sat in a chair in any way to just write with a pencil either. So I just felt really voiceless. It was a very disturbing and unpleasant feeling. My back, by the way, is better this morning. I actually did not take a pain pill last night, and I slept pretty well, reasonably well. I did take a pain pill this morning. But I feel like it's getting better, and I feel like I'm in that state where I have to be extra careful because it doesn't hurt so much, but I want to be really careful to move slow and deliberately and not re-injure it, because I'm in that phase where it feels like it's feeling better and I can start to do things, but I don't want to do things because I'm terrified of re-injuring it. I sneezed this morning and I was like, oh my God, did I just hurt my back again? But I don't think I did. So I need to stop doing that. I push my hat up like this and it just looks dumb. I need to stop doing that. But it feels weird when I have it down like this. This hat does a great job of covering up how bald I'm getting too. That's one reason why I like to wear it. Also, it's gold. So what else do we have here? Arg. I'm coughing and wheezing this morning. Let's talk a little bit about character voices. This is the other note I have written here. So one of the things I'm finding interesting about I said that I was enjoying writing the dialogue between these two characters, Murad and Selenius. And one of the things I'm struggling with, and is I'm having a hard time. I'm having a hard time expressing this thought that I have. So I have these two characters, and they're two different people, and two different people will speak in different ways. So we have Selenius, who's kind of a intellectual. So his speaking patterns would be sort of elaborate and sort of cultured. So I'm trying to write his dialogue in that way. And my nose is itching. Sorry. I'm I have a key on my keyboard that mutes the microphone, but if I press the key, it inserts text into my document, which I don't want to do. So I have to use the mouse to move over here and click a button to mute the microphone, which takes longer. So I'm trying to mute the mic when I'm like coughing and sniffing and stuff like that. Anyway, so that's Selenius. He has this cultured voice, is how I think of him. And Murad is more of a down-to-earth sort of a person. So I'm trying to think of a way to write his dialogue in a more clipped sort of a manner, I guess. He uses shorter sentences. This is my goal, at least. I'm not there yet. It's not intuitive to me, so I'm struggling with this. But it's a thing that I think about a lot. And, trying to bring a different speech patterns to two different characters is really difficult for me. So I'm struggling with that. But it is an interesting thing that I think about as I'm writing. So that has been one of my focal points through these first 3 days of writing, is trying to not only trying to work on a plot and keep things moving and make these characters slightly interesting and entertaining, but also to try to bring different characterizations to these two people's voices. So that has been a challenge so far, and I guess we'll see how it goes. I don't feel like I'm being very successful at distinguishing the voices of these two characters yet. They both just kind of sound like me, basically, or they just have sort of a generic sort of voice to them. So that will definitely will be something I would want to work on in revisions later on. I want to make it clear that they're both intelligent people, but they're just different. Like Selenius prides himself on his vocabulary and his dialogue and he pontificates a lot. Whereas Murad just sort of gets right to the point and, doesn't always use proper grammar with his sentences and things like that. Those are the things that I think about when I'm writing these two voices. So, I don't know why I just wanted to go into that, but I just thought that was, I just wanted to sort of record the things that I'm thinking about as I'm writing from day to day. And that's one of the things I'm thinking about. So that's been the morning report. Wow, I've recorded a lot of time here. These things are getting longer and longer. I was thinking these things would only be like 5 or 10 minutes every day, and it's like 15 minutes already, and I haven't even written anything. So I'll probably just tack on a little more at the end of the day, and that'll be that. So this has been the morning report for Sunday, day 4 of NaNoWriMo. See you later. It is now 6:39 p.m. on Sunday evening. I have probably written everything I'm going to write today. My back has been a little bit worse today. It's sort of as I feared. I feel like maybe I did a little too much and maybe made it a little worse. I don't know. Anyway, I did manage to have, I put in like 3 writing sessions. I got 1,376 words in my document today, which is less than the 1,667, but because of the, I had some extra words yesterday, so I'm still actually a little bit ahead of the pacing. So I'm actually I'm glad that I was able to write this much because I did pretty good yesterday, but today I was feeling pretty blank most of the day. I was really not sure where to go today at all. So our heroes are they were walking around the city. They how do I describe this? I'm trying to even remember what I wrote. So they went to see a seer, Cassidane the Seer, otherwise known as the Shaman. Selenius knew this shaman, and Murad has asked Selenius a couple of times, how do you know this shaman? Because, Selenius, you're not really the kind of person who would go around consorting with shamans, because, you know, you're basically a scientist, and this shaman woman is like an oracle and has divine powers and such. And Selenius has not answered that question yet, and that's because I have no idea how they know each other. So I was a little bit stuck today trying to think of how these two might know each other. So I eventually just kind of kept writing and just sort of writing description of where this woman's house is, Cassidane the seer woman. She lives in a ramshackle, rundown part of the Temple District. That's you know, Murad made the observation that if anyone dropped a torch in this area, the whole place would burn down because it's all this wooden shacks and shanties and stuff all kind of crammed together in this area. So that's where my heroes are, and Cassidane has revealed that Murad actually knows someone who could give them a lead on finding this woman who is their best lead for finding the missing magic book. And of course the seer did this grand staged show of, you know, the book has fallen into the hands of evil and evil is coming and, you know, all this. And Selenius is buying it hook, like, line and sinker, and Murad is like, I don't really believe what she's saying, but... So, that was sort of the scene that I was working on today. I'm not really happy with it. It's actually, the notes that I had originally written, for plot details I wrote on these note cards. So the first note that I wrote for the plot summary was, Wizard's house is ransacked, a book is taken. That's my first note for the plot of this book. The second note that I wrote is, Wizard and warrior seek a divination from a shaman to find a clue about who took the book. Remembers woman who talked to him at a party. That's my second note, and that is sort of the scene that I just kind of wrote. This woman at Selenius was at a party thrown by the mayor or somebody. This happened before the book started. And he was approached by this woman at this party, but Silenius doesn't really remember this woman because she used some sort of illusory magic to sort of cloud his mind and make him forget about her. So that's how she learned that he had this book, and they think she's the one that broke in and took the book. And that's where we are in the plot. I'm still not really sure where this is going, why any of this is relevant, but I'm just sort of following along in my notes here and hoping something good happens. That's basically what I'm doing. Yeah, I guess it was... I'm not really... Compared to how good I felt about yesterday's writing, today's writing, I don't feel as good about it. It's okay. I don't feel like this scene with Cassadane has a lot of point to it. It just seems sort of like a big cliche. My original thinking was that this shaman woman would become sort of a prominent character in the book, and she would be an interesting character to explore, but as I was writing it, I didn't really find a lot of interest in her. So I'm not sure that's really going to go anywhere. I think the interesting thing about her is the mystery of how Silenius even knows her, because... Yeah, it's Silenius is not the kind of person that would go talking to basically, she's like a fortune teller, basically. Silenius is a scientist. He's not going to go see a fortune teller, so why does he know her? It's an interesting conundrum that I don't know the answer to at this point, but it's in the back of my head as a thing to think about. So I think that's about all I have to report from day 4 of NaNoWriMo. I thought I had written a note somewhere on these cards of something to talk about. Oh, here we go. When I do these NaNoWriMo things, the first couple of years, I would be on the forums reading posts all the time and getting involved with the community and doing those sorts of things. But lately, I just kind of sit in my room by myself and work on it, and don't really interact with anybody else that's working on NaNoWriMo. I don't really go to the forums anymore. Not that there's anything wrong with them. I just sort of found that they were generally the same posts every year. People have usually the same questions every year. People usually give the same answers every year. And I didn't feel like I was getting a whole lot out of it. I'm sure if I dug through it, I would get more out of it. But lately, I just kind of feel like I just want to do my own thing and see what happens with it. So that was something I wanted to mention. But I do. I hope everybody else is having fun. I hope everybody is getting whatever they can out of NaNoWriMo. I hope they're enjoying the writing. I hope they're doing well. If you're not doing well, that's also fine. Every day is different in writing. If you're not doing well now, you could do well tomorrow, or the next day, or the day after that. That's, it's kind of a big cliche that they say as a writer that you just keep showing up on the page every day. It's kind of true, for me at least. If I just stare at a blank page long enough every day and start writing things, eventually something comes out. It may not be very good. It may not be very much, but if I set aside the time and just sort of really focus on staying there, it does work out in some form or another. And so I guess it's one of those situations where the cliche is based on some truth. But it's not always easy to do that. I am well aware of that. For 11 other months of the year, I find it, really hard to just show up on the page. I don't know what it is about NaNoWriMo, but there's something about the event that inspires me to be more diligent about writing. I don't know what it is about it. Again, I don't really participate a whole lot in the community aspect of it, so I don't really know what it is. Anyway, that's all for the weekend. That Sunday night, I'm planning to watch Doctor Who and maybe The Walking Dead and go to bed. Maybe not even that much. I might go to bed earlier because, again, my back is not feeling great. But who knows? Who knows how the night will unfold? I might even write some more words. Maybe. It's possible. I do actually, in years past, I have often actually just brought my laptop to bed with me and, throw a couple hundred more words onto every day's total right before I go to bed. I can't really write with my laptop in bed right now because of my back, but I do like the idea of writing before bed each night. So that might happen tonight, who knows. So I guess that is the end of day 4. It's been another really super long video here. I don't know if I'm I'm sure that I'm boring everyone to death, but I'm hoping that myself in the future, when I look back at this, I will be able to see this and find something useful out of it. Or at least have a good archival memory of my experience with NaNoWriMo 2018. All right, that's all for now. See you later.